Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watchbox, and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, tmosso@thewatchbox.com, your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see here on our channel, website, or social media. It's in the description below. Reach out to tmosso@thewatchbox.com. Today, we're discussing the 2016 MB&F Horological Machine 8, the HM8 Can-Am, automotive inspired with jumping hours, automatic winding, white gold and titanium construction. This watch harks back to the golden era of the Canadian-American Challenge Cup held by the Sports Car Club of America. From 1966 to 1987, Can-Am was the place to see the biggest names in sports car endurance racing and the biggest brands from Chaparral to McLaren, Porsche, and everything in between. The cars were insane, and with over 1,500 horsepower on primitive tire technology, so were the drivers. Now, this watch is impressive visually, but it's also easy to wear in spite of its size. Let's talk about basic dimensions and then put it on the wrist. As you can see, the watch is unusual in that it's effectively 48.8 millimeters wide, almost square in dimensions. It measures 49.9 millimeters from end to end. At its thickest, which is the forward end of the watch near the viewing crystal, the watch is 18.5 millimeters thick, but again, it really doesn't wear its size. It wears considerably more comfortable on my 16 centimeter circumference wrist. That's because the articulated lugs inspired by automotive suspension are like those on de Bethune, as you have a variable geometry fit that wears well even on a smaller wrist, and you could wear this watch on a wrist as small as 14 centimeters circumference. You could see that it's never going to fit underneath the cuff, but then again, you don't buy a watch like this to hide it. Now let's take a quick look at the hardware and the software. This is the articulated lug system of which I spoke. So you can see the strap has one pivot, and then there is a second pivot built in. So these are really double hinged. The rear is a little bit more conventional with a single hinge, and the strap itself is an unusual application of medium rectangular scale alligator leather, navy blue with a monotone stitch. It is a folded edge, so you can tell it's a lot of leather, but you can't see the different layers. It's a folded edge profile. On the underside, a very high-grade calfskin, and you can see this is a new MB&F factory strap made by Camille Fournet, which, among others, makes the factory straps for JLC. We have a G&F Chatelain manufactured double swing arm leaf spring deployant clasp. You can see the MB&F Battle Axe logo. This part, of course, on the watch is made of titanium, brushed titanium and polished. It's the grade 5 stuff. Thanks to the leaf spring, you'll find the same clasp architecture used by Richard Mille, but it will snap shut and stay shut for security on the wrist. Now, there's the Battle Axe motif again on the crown. The watch features a combination of white gold and titanium, and in general, the high polish is going to be your titanium. You can see there are polished bars that run fore and aft, and they're inspired by the roll cages of Can-Am race cars. So if you can remember some of the open-top machines, they had elaborate roll structures to protect their drivers from 100, 150, and even 200 mile-an-hour pileups. The watch also features a good deal of brushed finish, so you can see a combination of satin and polish with many different nips, tucks, curves, creases, recesses, and details to capture the eye. There are also many individual sapphires on this watch. You can see there is a magnifying sapphire over the viewer, and the watch, being automotive inspired, has a wrist-borne viewable lateral magnifier. So the idea being that when your hand is on the wheel of the car, at that angle, you will have the perfect vantage point for viewing the jump hour and the minutes. As with 1970s driver's watches like the Girard-Perregaux Casquette and the Amida Digitrend that also inspired the Horological Machines 10 and 5. Well, what you're also getting here is a little bit of automotive imagery. As you can see, the font used is very much that of dashboard instruments, and then you have a little cyan index indicator adjacent to the scrolling minutes, much like you would find on the dashboard of a car. Of course, you have true jumping hours with a complication added on top of the Girard-Perregaux base, and you can adjust it bidirectionally. It will jump in both directions. You can also see that there are sapphires within sapphires. There are even sapphires where you don't expect them. As you can see, there is a visible winding system with a blued battle axe in precious metal. That is the double-sided battle axe logo of MB&F. We saw it elsewhere on the watch, but what you might not notice at first glance is that all of that sits underneath another sapphire. You have a sapphire so you can see from the reverse the system that operates the jumping hours, and you have additional sapphires that allow you to see through to the discs, which actually rotate horizontally, and the lenses rotate the image, so they bend the light so you can see it from that lateral vantage point. Now, if you get real close, and we're going to get real close, you can see that the basic movement is a Girard-Perregaux 3000 series. It's nicely finished. In particular, the bevels of the interiors of the bridges are pretty good. It has a hacking seconds function, retained from the standard GP, even though the watch does not have a seconds indicator. Automatic winding, it winds unidirectionally, and it features a 42-hour power reserve while beating away at 28,800 vibrations per hour, all of this pivoting on 30 joules. It's a good-looking movement, and the watch is 30 meters water resistant, which is to say splash and rain only. We have more automotive imagery on the bottom, where you can see that there are still more viewing sapphires. Also, note the use of proprietary screws, so your local watch wrangler can't hack this thing up, and that's a good thing. You'll also appreciate that underneath the movement, the plates have been machined and finished to look like valve covers in high-performance automotive engines. So there is lush automotive imagery here and boundless invention and imagination. But then again, that is what Max Bucer and friends are known for. Style of the watch was by Eric Giroux, who is an important modern-day watch designer and a longtime collaborator of MB&F. He is simpatico with Max Bucer, and thus they have had many collaborations, of which this automotive-inspired opus is one of my favorites. Email tmosso@thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details.